Welcome back to Andersen Acres. There's just something magical about a flock of happy, healthy ducks. Yes, I'm aware some of them are chickens. It's okay. A lot of them are ducks. But the tail wagging, the excited quacks in the morning, the glossy feathers catching the sunlight while they dabble around in their water, all of that is magical. All right, it is fantastic when your ducks are healthy. And life on the farm just feels right when they're doing well. But for those of us who've fallen head over heels in love with our little flocks, the sense of peace disappears the moment one of them isn't acting quite right. Maybe Daisy doesn't come for breakfast. Maybe she's just sitting there in the corner, feathers ruffled, eyes dull, and suddenly your mind starts to race. What's wrong? How sick is she? Will the others catch it too? Can I even justify taking her to the vet? So today we're going to talk about how to prevent that moment altogether. We'll get into things that can happen to your ducks, diseases they can get in later videos. But right now, I just want to talk about how to work at keeping your flock as healthy as you possibly can so you can avoid the worst case scenario. We'll cover all the basics of duck health care and disease prevention so your flock can stay vibrant, safe, and thriving for the long haul. Let's dive right in. Prevention starts before your ducks even come home. Whenever you add new birds to your flock, whether they're ducklings or adults, make sure you're getting them from a reputable source. That means someone who raises ducks with good biosecurity, knows the genetics and health of their birds, and won't send you home with a bird already carrying illness. When you're picking out ducks, look for alert and active babies or adults. They should be alert and active regardless of age. And their eyes should be bright. Their feathers should be clean. Their moves should be fairly steady and strong. Avoid ducklings that are kind of sluggish. Check the vents. Don't bring home one with pasty vent. Check for runny eyes or leg issues or any that just seem off. Don't take those ones. Those cute little fluff balls sitting in the corner with half-closed eyes, unfortunately, they're usually not healthy. Okay? Start out with the healthiest, happiest birds you can, and you're more likely to have success. You want to give your ducks the best possible start, and that means picking ducks that already have a good head start. So, reputable breeder, good-looking birds. Now, I'm not saying the breeder should let you walk around their duck pens because, again, we talked about biosecurity. Places with good biosecurity will not let you traipse around where everyone is. So I let people come and take a look. They can't come all the way where all the animals hang out. It's not good biosecurity. So there should be a mix between, yes, the animals are over there, but we have biosecurity measures, so no, you can't go. Okay? There's a happy medium. Now let's talk nutrition. Because as much fun as it is to toss your ducks some scraps or let them nibble on grass all day, that alone won't keep them healthy. Ducks need a balanced diet that supports their rather unique biology. Bread, corn, lettuce, or just pasture grazing isn't going to cut it. Sure, they'll eat it and enjoy it, but they're not getting the full range of nutrients they need. Too much of one thing, not enough of another, and you can end up with deficiencies, deformities, or suppressed immune systems. Instead, feed a well-formulated duck or waterfowl pellet and supplement with healthy greens and the occasional treat. And don't forget the water. Ducks must have access to clean, fresh drinking water, not just for hydration, but because they need to rinse their nostrils and clean their food while eating. Their dabbling habits make it hard to keep water pristine, but do your best. Change the water as often as you have to. At least twice a day is my recommendation, and scrub out the bowls regularly and thoroughly just to make sure everyone is as happy and clean as you can manage. Speaking of clean, let's talk about hygiene. And I know what you're thinking. Ducks are messy. And you're right. You're absolutely right. They're disgusting. I love them. They're disgusting. Ducks are adorable, social, hilarious, and total mud monsters. But messy doesn't have to mean unsanitary. In the same way that my cluttered living room doesn't mean my living room is dirty. Okay? Yeah, my kitchen has stuff on every conceivable surface, but it's also clean. Maintaining good hygiene in your duck area is one of the most effective ways to prevent disease, and it's kind of like keeping your kitchen clean. You can keep it clean, and things can still be a messy disaster. So, don't overcrowd your ducks, first of all. Cramming too many birds into a small space leads to filthy conditions, stress, and increased aggravation. That's a perfect storm for illness. Make sure your ducks have space to roam around. They do need to be able to move. And you want to make sure they can bathe and preen and nap without being on top of each other all of the time. Okay? Keep the bedding dry. Rotate pasture if you can. Quack, 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 quack. But keep everything dry. Rotate the pasture if you can. And clean their pools and their water containers regularly. You don't have to have that Pinterest perfect looking duck pen. Most of us don't. It's okay if things are a disaster. Just make sure it's functional and healthy while it's being a disaster. Ducks, man, they're loud. Also, don't underestimate stress as a disease trigger. A stressed duck has a compromised immune system. Clean spaces and low stress environments mean less sickness across the board. Yes, guys. Also, the turkey may show up in a minute. So, let's talk about uninvited guests. And I don't just mean the neighbor's dog, though he's included on this list too. I'm talking about predators. Rats and mice and raccoons and mink and crows and pigeons, even wild ducks. They all can carry disease, parasites, bacteria that your ducks are really better off without. These pests are drawn to feed. They are drawn to the warm, cozy duck shelters. They are drawn to the open water that you have. So use secure fencing and wire and maybe livestock guardian dogs like we do in order to keep the animals out. Don't leave feed sitting out overnight if you can avoid it, unless you have livestock guardian dogs to keep pests at bay. And check your enclosures regularly for holes or weaknesses that could let a predator or pest sneak in. And don't let wild birds mingle with your domestic ones. I know it's tempting to let everything be natural and free, but our livestock guardians keep things like the crows and the ravens and the geese away for a reason. Okay? Wild waterfowl, especially, are one of the biggest sources of disease transmissions for backyard ducks. They also happen to be a carrier of avian flu. So you are better off making sure that your birds are not hanging out with all the birds. Hi. But you're better off making sure that your birds are not hanging out with the neighborhood birds. Okay? Keep them separate if you can. And of course, be careful with rodent control. Never leave out open poison or traps in areas where your ducks can access. I prefer to use cats for my rodent control because poison inevitably backfires and your flock ends up consuming it. And that's just not great. So, yeah, be aware of your rodent control measures because they can also adversely affect your ducks. Now, quarantine and closed flocks. This one's going to ruffle a few feathers, pun intended. But it's also important. Ideally, you do want a closed flock. That means no new birds come in and none of your birds leave and return. This reduces the chance of disease exponentially. Okay? I know for many of us that's just not realistic. Now, we do not get adult birds, period. We simply do not ever get an adult bird. We take hatching eggs. We will take baby birds, chicks and ducklings that were in a brooder where they were probably more isolated, but we do not take in adult birds. Okay? We just don't do it. It's not safe. I know for a lot of people it's not possible. Maybe you breed ducks and you are looking for a really good breeding adult. Maybe you go to shows or rescue the occasional wayward bird. It's not possible for everyone. But do your best to keep adult birds out of your flock. If you can't, quarantine is a must. Any new duck or returning duck, so a duck you have rehomed and then is coming back to you, needs to be quarantined. 30 feet for 30 days. That's my rule. 30 feet for 30 days. They need to be separated so that you can notice any disease popping up for 30 days before being introduced to your main flock. Because even healthy looking ducks can carry something that doesn't show symptoms right away. 30 days is usually enough to see if they're sick. Okay? So just keep them separated for that 30 days. And if you do notice a duck showing signs of illness, they're lethargic, they have weird poops, they have discharge from the eyes or the nostrils, maybe they have some trouble walking, separate them immediately. Okay? It might be nothing, but it might be contagious. Better safe than sorry. Get your sick birds isolated. Have a plan for isolating a bird that falls ill. Because even if you don't have one that falls ill, you might have one that gets injured and needs to be isolated anyway. So have a plan. Now let's talk about biosecurity again. Because biosecurity isn't just for big commercial farms anymore. With diseases like avian influenza making headlines, it's something we all need to think about, even on a small homestead. So here are some simple steps. 1, don't let visitors into your duck area unnecessarily. Okay? Change your clothes and shoes after visiting other farms or poultry shows before you head out to your flock. So if you've been to a farm sale, when you get home, change your clothes, change your shoes, wash your hands, then go visit your own flock. You want to disinfect tools, carriers, and even your boots regularly to make sure you're not bringing something in. Dispose of any dead birds quickly and safely and far away from your flock. I mean, they might have just died because they got old. They might have died from a predator, but maybe they died from a disease. So get them away from your flock and dispose of them properly, quickly, and safely. These small actions can make a huge difference in preventing the spread of illness. Now, you also want to make sure you're doing daily checks for small hazards, because even if you're doing everything else right, your daily habits can make or break your duck's health. Every day, take a few minutes to walk your duck yard. Is there fresh feed or does it smell moldy? Toss anything questionable. Is there baling twine, a broken egg, or sharp metal sticking out somewhere? Remove it. Are predators like eagles circling overhead? Maybe time to rethink your free range schedule or possibly get some livestock guardian dogs to take care of the problem. Do you have standing water, muddy buildup, or unusual duck behavior? These quick visual checks can catch small problems before they become big ones. Okay? Prevention isn't always glamorous, but it is powerful. So, an ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure, right? So, prevent what you can. Anyway, that is about it for us here today at Andersen Acres. Drop a comment below and tell me what your daily duck care routine looks like. Have you ever caught a problem early just by watching your flock and paying attention? I'd love to know about it. We'll see you tomorrow.